Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, Tiger Tank 12, how you call me? I don't really care. Welcome back to World of Tanks. Before we start the video once more, we're gonna go right ahead and first point out a channel that's quite interesting, and this time around it's Aim Like a Noob. If you are interested in meme-like videos for World of Tanks, this guy has you covered. He hasn't made a lot of videos, but the ones that he has made are really funny, especially the Caliban one. So definitely check out his channel. Once again, it will be in the description below, the link, and subscribe and see maybe it's something you like. And I see you guys right on the video in just a second. Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, Tiger Tank 12, having called me. I don't really care. Welcome back to World of Tanks, where we're today taking a look at the K2, which is an upcoming Tier 8 premium Russian heavy tank. And I've said this line so many times in the last couple of years, but still, it is coming towards us. Why am I making a video? Why am I making a preview for this tank? Are you trying to promote this? No, I'm not trying to promote it, but I want to show you guys what we'll have to deal with in the next upcoming patches. Not sure when it's coming out. It's on the super test, but I think it's going to be coming in the next few months at least. And it's basically IS4 at tier 8, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, so we can at least figure out a little bit of a way to deal with this tank, and obviously also to complain about the idea of this. I want to see if it is balanced or if it is just outright broken, as some other tier 8 premium tanks are. So this is the vehicle model that you have right here, and you can see that the resemblance to the IS4 is pretty much uncanny. You can see it immediately from the front, how the angling is going right there, the turret on top. It's a bit more wide than an IS4, but it's very similar to it. It has the 122mm gun that the IS4 has. If you have not fully received or researched the Top Gun on the IS8 back in the day, and you were playing just with the 122mm gun, then you still had this gun. And other than that, basically it's almost a blatant copy from the back, right? There are a bit more side skirts, I think, on the side, more spaced armor right there, but other than that, it looks very much like an IS4, and that's what Wargaming is selling it as a IS4 prototype. So let's take a look at the statistics. Let's talk about the ins and the outs of the vehicle. Let's just take a look, and then we can look into it and talk a little bit about the strengths and the weaknesses of this tank, and why I still think Wargaming should not be releasing any more premium tanks at tier 8, or why they shouldn't be releasing more premium tanks at tier 8. So basically right now we're at a stage where they're copying tier 10 tanks and tier 9 vehicles into the game as premiums. They've done that for a while now, but this is basically one of the one of the easiest copy and paste jobs that they've done. So you have 1627 TPM, a 120mm gun, and the penetration on the AP shells is quite atrocious, with 196 millimeters of penetration. But you do have heat shells with 270 millimeters of penetration, and these will probably cost you a whopping 5,000 credits, maybe more. So I think a lot of players will just be using this tank with high explosive anti-tank ammunition, and then it'll probably be a very decent vehicle, at least penetration wise. But with the AP shells, as you can see, the shell velocity is quite atrocious as well, 790 meters per second. Even the heat shells fly faster than that, but they cost you 5,200 credits per round, and that's pretty big drop off if you use the AP shells. So the reload time is about 14.38 seconds, rate of fire is 4.17 rounds per minute. Aim time is not very good, 2.78. The dispersion is not very good, with 0.42. So yeah, basically a tank that is meant for close quarter engagements. We have all seen it before, we know what it's like, and basically that's what you're getting, a tank that does not perform very well at longer distances. Its top speed is 30 kilometers per hour. It's not extremely fast. It also doesn't have a very good power to weight ratio. Tank traverse is not very good. The turret traverse is not very good. It's also not very effective on soft terrain. You can see it does get bogged down quite quickly, 19.2 kilometers per hour. Traverse also gets bogged down very, very quickly, depending on what surface you are on. And the gun depression is also not very good, so 6 degrees of gun depression is not something to write home about. But the real deal, or the reason why people will buy this tank, is its armor. Now, if you can see, it has 160 millimeters at the front, hull armor wise, 160 on the side, 120 on the rear, 250 on the turret, 160 on the turret on the side, 160 on the rear, and you have 1700 HP on the tank. So that's quite a bit of HP for a tier 8 heavy tank. But if we compare it to the IS4 real fast, you'll see some very interesting parallels right there, because the IS4 with the 122 millimeter gun has better penetration with that, at least 217, but it actually has worse hull armor. So it's quite interesting, because this thing has 160 millimeters frontal armor, while the IS4 only has 155. But at least the rear armor is thicker, and also the side of the turret. But other than that, they're almost identical. You can see that basically everything is the same. You have 350 meters view range, so that's going to be quite shocking. It's not going to be working out very well. But it's a Soviet heavy tank. You're supposed to be a brawling tank, not someone spotting out there. But you can see that the armor is going to be the main star of this attraction. So let's jump over and switch to collision right here, so you can at least see what you have. So for example, let's see, we have an IS4 with the 217 or the 122 millimeter gun with 217 millimeters of penetration, and you basically have no chance of penetrating the lower plate. Now this is a tier 8. Yeah, right, this is a tier 8, right? So it's going to be very difficult to be able to penetrate the side of this tank. Even the effective armor is up to 160 millimeters. Now up here with the spaced armor that we have right here, and it's spaced and it's like angled as well. It's like 230, 250 millimeters thick. So you can see that the APCR shell on the IS4 is not going to be able to penetrate this tank from the side. So the places that you can penetrate is at least the side right here. You have a chance of penetrating the side of the tank. And other than that, well, it's rear. At least there you have a 100% chance of going right through, or if you're on top of it. But it's quite difficult to actually be able to go through this tank. But with heat, with 270 millimeters of penetration, now the penetration chance on the lower plate, everything looks a lot better. Even on the upper plate, no, actually on right here, the little upper plate angle right there that we have. Let's switch over to visual so you can see that. It's angled downwards, so you can actually penetrate that with high explosive anti-tank ammunition if you have a little bit of an angle towards it. Like if you're a bit higher than it, you can probably shoot right there and be able to go through it. But one of the places to shoot, or at least to aim at with this tank, is probably going to be the cupola on top right there and there. And it's going to be quite difficult if you're on the same level to penetrate the roof. So basically with heat, you'll have to go through the lower plate. Up here, if you have a little bit of an angle, you can go right through this plate right there, but it's quite difficult. You can see even with 270 millimeters of penetration. So I would say we go over to tier 8 and we pick out some opponents that this tank might face. For example, the 112. So the 112 has 196 millimeters of penetration, or 250 millimeters of penetration when facing the K2. You can see you have about 13% chance of penetrating the lower plate with AP. Even on the side, it's not a 100% chance to go right through. If you have like this angle right here, you can angle the K2 and it's basically impossible to go right through with the 122 millimeter round from the 112. And yeah, it's quite shocking actually. You can see it's not a very nice thing to engage. So basically what you have to do is you have to rely on heat shells. Even with heat shells, you do not have a 100% penetration chance of the lower plate if you're right in front of it. and even on the side, it's going to be quite tough. You can see the spaced armor on top. It's going to be almost impossible to penetrate, but you can penetrate the side turret. So basically, when they add this tank into the game, it's going to be a tier 8 IS4, and that's not going to be working out in any kind of way, because if we just pick any other tank like the 112, for example, a medium tank this time around. So let's pick out a medium tank like maybe, let's say, the CS53. So the CS53, this is I think the top gun that you have, and you're going up against the K2. The lower plate, yeah, there's almost no chance of penning that, even with 212 millimeters of penetration, which is decent. At least you have 290 millimeters of penetration with the high explosive anti-tank shell, but you can see that this is a very, very bad kind of fight. So basically, what can we say about this tank? It's going to be very difficult to take care of this because it's an IS4 at tier 8, and you cannot really do anything against it if it's in a hull down position and you don't have a high explosive anti-tank shell that has at least 250 millimeters of penetration. So I'm not a big fan. I think this is going to make tier 8 even more annoying, and you really need like a tier 9 tank to be able to deal with this thing if it's like very well armored and very well hidden. So yeah, I'm not a big fan, but I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on this tank, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, have a good one.